Aloha, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Prince John Internet TV. Today, we're talking about everything.
Yeah.
So, what is it that attracts people together? What if it's more than just the body, or the visual attraction, what the mind sees that it looks, that it likes. But what if there's some sort of a magnetism associated with the meeting of the minds, in which one mind, you know, has a realm of influence around it, and that gravitates towards certain things. And uh, what are the makeup of the mind? Words, thoughts, visualizations, thought projections. Something to think about. Why don't we take an objective look at what we're attracting, both the good and the bad? Okay, and train the mind. The mind is not us. We are the unified field of light, and we intentionally created darkness, if you will, or uh, different space-time polarity, separation, blah blah blah. And so let's train the mind to behave and create and not destroy. And keep in mind that emotions are not things that can be controlled. Only behavior can be managed. And for that matter, the light work, I believe, which has an effect and influence on both the realm around you of the mind, like your aura, or whatever you want to call it, that I believe is attacked by, whether it's somebody who's a psychic vampire. A good example of that would be somebody trying to inspire fear versus uh, versus love. And it's hard to tell a person of what their motives are until you listen to the sound of their voice talk. So you can tell what tone of their voice is. And basically, I believe that the the pleasure that is a result of two people being together, partners, will also help to heal things that were not the principal attracting factors, such as if what I'm talking about, the cerebral event of magnetism is real, and two people are attracted as a result of their essence and their collective of their mind and their, just style of thinking. Other factors such as financial status, health, etc., uh, which may not be as important, um, will, I believe, stabilize themselves when the two people are together, because they complement each other. Their minds complement each other, so they become one whole conjugal couple. And it takes time to create. It's a calculated effort, but it can be done, I believe, using logic and rationale, not just abstract religious potentiality. Now, I like to gossip about people that I think are family. I think it's an unconscious defense mechanism. And when I do this, it's a judgmental, anxious, feeling. But I thought to myself, what if I used the term Mister to describe, or Miss to describe people, including children, who, by the way, I believe shouldn't be too attached to, because they're not mature enough to understand and be a brother or sister to somebody. They can only be a guardian. And what I'm suggesting, what I'm suggesting is, if you see somebody walk by that you cast judgment upon, and instead of
佛律一般没有保佑的这种肉。
Instead of being upset at them, what you can do is simply
哦，
simply label them as Mr. or
哦，
Mrs.
嗯，
And I think everything is subject to change. Now, what that means is people will have to deal with constant change and letting go process and find their purpose and notice their feelings and combine those two in order to create their reality. I don't think neurosis and anxiety is good or bad. I think it just has to be recognized and find out the root of it. A lot of times, logic and reasoning, such as I'm presenting in my YouTube show, can help with, and communication skills. I think it's strategic to have an email address for everyone, and the government can email everyone once a week and check in with them. That way, there's not an expectation for everyone to have a house. People can be houseless. People can be nomadic. They can not have a phone number or an address, but they should be able to be contacted regularly by the government. I think an exercise of good citizenry um, so that it can just be kind of they can't like hide or pretend that they're not doing good or they're doing fine when they're not. So controlled by what else? What else? Just bear with me, thank you. I think that the mind has no location in space, and that I can kind of expand my mind to others, but be respectful about it. Um, in a non-obstructive way or not non-impositioning, such as doing the show or sharing, just giving somebody written things instead of trying to program their mind by talking to them. Somewhat like a Christian pastor tries to unconsciously, of course, under the assumption that he's doing it for God on behalf of a supernatural being, a God, is that he basically stands there and orates to people and shares with them ideas, but is really in fact programming them. And perhaps you could even describe it as uh, psychic vampiring, where you take somebody else's creative energy and use it so they're listening to you and they're creating whatever you're saying with their thoughts. But I think it's possible to trump this. Like, I listen to vulgar music, but I just like it for its sound. And when I go to a Christian, thing, I don't think about, oh, the fear of hell. I just enjoy it for its entertainment value. So I think there's a way of trumping it if you're smart. This is open to experimentation. Be advised if you're not spiritually mature and are not using the light work and your 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 defenses strategies. We can feel our feelings, but let's try and continue constructive behavior. Because if we avoid any feelings, they will come back. And another thing is to pretend people are armed, they have a gun, and do the light work. Use flight instead of attacking and fighting when possible. Be diplomatic. Pretend you're scared and try to reason with the individual as long as they look like they're not, as long as they look like they're in the right mind. Um, and try to be non-lethal if possible. And just, what's it called? Whatever the term is for subdue. Yeah. Big whatever. Uh, Last but not least, I think it's important for people to realize that I'm the entire field of light, I believe. So like I can't really die. I and so my body is like it's like a sacrifice, or it's like a pawn for my grand scheme. So it may be that I'm killed, or uh, my body's taken. Um, I think what matters is in life is finding your mate. Uh, so in other words, if my body is taken, would want my mate's body to be taken as well, so that we wouldn't be separate. So that's where humane suicide comes into play. It could be assisted by doing like a ceremonial type of, maybe the person um, signs a release form that they can be um, executed humanely, and they take drugs or something in order to experience an exciting high. Or maybe then again, it would be better to experience a natural as death as possible, because you never know with the spirit realm, with angry spirits, and you just want to have a nice clean exit from the body and entrance into the field, until waiting for your next incarnation. Ladies and gentlemen, Prince John Internet TV, baby.